Welcome to Play Calling 101 with the Wild Aces. My name is Jeff Erdman. I'm Jackson Erdman's dad. I've been a high school football coach, head coach for 31 years, and I'm just going to give you some quick introduction to some of the concepts that Jack talks about in our game strategy, and then also just to help you with play calling in the FCF. The most critical piece for you as a play caller is deciding run or pass. On the FCF app, when we are on offense, it'll come up, at least this is what it showed in the scrimmage, with a run or pass option. The offensive approach for this league should be built around what is hardest for the defense to defend due to the location of where the ball is. So at the start of a series, when our offense has the ball way back here, because it's 50-55 yards, our quarterbacks can throw it the full length of the field. The defense has to defend the full length of the field. And so that means you're going to have defensive backs probably playing more zone, where they're off the line and they're trying to be careful that they don't let anybody behind them. And you're going to see that happen out here in the middle of the field. Our first time that we have the ball to start a series, all four of our plays, if it takes 4 plays to get 10 yards, they should all be pass plays, because it's going to be easy. This is going to be the easiest time to pick up 10 yards with 4 plays is when we have the ball way back here. Now, as we drive the ball, as we move the ball down the field and we get closer, we get across the 50-yard line, which in FCF is 25-yard line. Now we might start going from 100% pass down to 75% pass, 25% run. As we get to the red zone, the 10-yard line and in, this is going to be a little harder to throw. So this is where the run game becomes really, really important. And maybe we're to 50-50. Percent as far as run pass. If we are able to run the ball successfully down here, we keep running the ball. Maybe we go 60-40 run pass, or even 70-30 if we can run the ball really well. The heavy hitters defense was created to stop the run. They are loaded up front. If we can run the ball successfully against them inside that red zone, that is a fantastic situation for us. If it is not, if we are struggling to run the ball inside the 10, then we do want to go to some red zone pass plays that will be explained later in the video. So let's talk about what you're going to see if you do select pass play. So once you hit the pass, it's going to bring up different choices of pass plays for you to choose from. And what we wanted to do is kind of explain some of this so you understood the terminology. The furthest receiver to the left is X. The furthest receiver to the right is the Z receiver. And then the tight end on the right side is called the Y. If there's 3 receivers in, like this formation has, they use W for the third receiver. X is the first receiver, Z second, those 2 receivers, and then W is a third receiver. You might see an S here if they take the running back, the super back, and they want him in the game as the third receiver, you might see an S there as well. And then also on this side, the person left to the center is referred to as a T. Whether that's tackle, I'm not sure what that stands for. But regardless, in this play, there are 5 people that can go out for passes. In this play, there's only 3 going out. We're keeping 2 in to block. With the tight ends that we have, we would like to see plays where our tight ends, these positions, are going out for passes, because then those defenders that are across from them have to go with them and defend them. And so that's a good situation for us, tight ends running routes and these defensive ends having to cover them. So ideally, we'd like to have pass plays chosen that have 5 guys going out. Now let's look at the route that is being run by Z. This is called an option route, where the receiver has a choice of 2 different routes to run. For the first example, let's say that the defensive back is playing way off, 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. There's no way this defensive back is going to let us run past him. So our receiver Z starts off on his path to run a fade, a go route, a vertical. Those are all names that are used for this. And the defensive back keeps staying back further and further. There's no way we're going to get behind him. At 7 yards, our receiver makes a decision. He's going to stop. The defensive back is way back here, making sure he doesn't get a touchdown pass. Our receiver stops and was wide open for an easy throw from the quarterback. This is an option route. Now let's look at a different situation. Let's say the defensive back is up tight on the receiver and is only 3-4 yards off the line of scrimmage. Our receiver is going to run the go. If he gets even with him, he is gone. He's going for the touchdown. If the quarterback sees that the D-back is losing ground right now, the quarterback is throwing the fade, the go. And so this is a great route for us as receivers. The defense can't win. If they stay high on us and take away the deep ball, we stop and we're wide open. If they come up pressed on us, our receivers are very, very good. They're going to get past them, and we can hit them on a big strike for a touchdown. Many of the routes that are in the playbook have option schemes built into them. In this example, there's 3 different option routes. That's a good scenario. If you see option routes in this anywhere on the field, those are usually good choices for us. In the game plan, Jack asks you as a play caller to try to utilize our tight ends. Our tight ends are going to be very good. They're going to be more athletic than the guys defending them. And so anytime you see pass plays where all 5 guys are going out, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a very good play call. And that gives us an advantage as an offense. Hopefully, as you looked at the routes on this, you would notice that this is an option route. Here, we've got 4 option routes. This makes it even harder for the defense to be right and have to be able to cover all 4 guys with the choices of having an option route. Let's talk quickly here about zone defense from the defensive perspective. So out in the middle of the field, they're more likely to use zone defense than man-to-man. And so what that means is, in this example, they've got their 3 D linemen, their nose guard, and 2 defensive ends. These ends have to go with the receiver and guard the receiver if they run routes. They cannot rush. So that's a good scenario for us. Now, if they played, they have different coverages for defense. We're going to talk about cover 3. In cover 3, 3 defenders are going to protect the deep thirds of the field. So in this example, this cornerback would have this third of the field, this corner would have this third, and the safety would have this third. That leaves the underneath all to the middle linebacker. So this is a great play call going with 4 verts like this, with 4 guys running deep and a tight end releasing against the middle linebacker. So this is good against man or versus zone. So after you've selected pass and you see a play come up that looks like this where it has 5 receivers going out and you can see that there's option routes built in, that's a great play to go with. Okay, let's talk about pass plays as we get closer to the end zone. As we approach the red zone in the 10-yard line, as we're getting closer to it, Jack's asking for play calls to consist of rub routes or fades. So let's first talk rub routes. Defenses are most likely going to play man-to-man as we get closer to the end zone. Oftentimes they'll take their linebacker, the Mike, and they'll blitz him to put pressure on the quarterback so the defensive backs don't have to cover the pass for as long. So the corner is going to be manned up here, one of the DBs here, and here. So they're going to be man-to-man. Wherever their receiver goes, they're going with them. And that pressure, the blitz, is to make it so that they do not have to cover their man for very long. So in this situation, we are looking at trying to run rub routes. A rub route is this. When you see the receivers cross, in this example, the X is going to run to the flats. And in the process of doing that, in a sense, try to get in a way or set a little pick so that it makes it really hard for this corner to stay on covering the Z. So if we can get a little bit of a rub here, what's going to happen is there's going to be a nice, quick, early window for the quarterback to hit our Z on a slant and be able to take it to the house, because it's going to allow for separation from this corner because of the action of our X receiver. So when you see scenarios where we have receivers crossing each other, especially when they're only 2 to 3, 4 yards downfield, like is indicated in this route right here, we're all at under 5 yards with this. Those are great scenarios once we get inside the red zone, inside that 10. So those would be the types of routes that we would look to call inside the red zone. The other type of route inside the red zone, or as we approach it, is a fade route, and that will be discussed on the next slide. Jack is asking us to call fade routes as well if we get inside the 10-yard line. We have very athletic, tall receivers. The defensive backs that they're going against are going to be significantly shorter. So a fade route is a go route where Jack and the quarterbacks are going to try to put it up over the corners. If they are up in man press technique where they're real close to them, this is a great opportunity for us to just simply get behind them and the quarterback lofts it over the top in the back corner of the end zone. If any of you watched the man up drill, this is something that Jack did very well on throwing these routes. And when you add that type of accuracy and you add ridiculous athletes at wide receiver that are taller than the DBs, this makes a great play call to run fade routes down inside the 10 against man coverage, which they're most likely going to be in because of the place on the field where we have the ball. Hopefully when we get inside the 10 and we're running the ball more, because that's a huge advantage inside the 10, the defensive backs are playing man-to-man, so it's harder for them to give run support. So running the ball inside the 10 is a good situation. The defense we're playing against, the heavy hitters, is built to stop the run. So if that's not working, going to the fade route is a great choice for us as play callers. Here's one last play that Jack wanted me to include in this video. This is a play where you should notice that it's got 3 fade routes and 2 of them are option routes. So hopefully when you look at this now, you can clearly identify, yep, that's an option route, that's an option route. Those are good. Erdman loves those. Those are great situations for our receivers. One thing that's new is this. This squiggly line simply means that that is motion. So during the cadence, X is going to come in motion and run that route. So that's what that means if you see it. So this is a great play inside as we get closer to the end zone again for those fades and the option routes off that, or even later in the earlier in the sequence when we're out where there is more field to work with. After the Wild Aces score, the next play is going to be very, very significant to our ability to win games. Can we convert on conversion plays? There is no kicking the extra point in FCF football, so we are going for the conversion in a one-on-one matchup. So they're going to call out a receiver. In this case, we're labeling him Z, going against one defender. The quarterback gets 3 seconds to get rid of the ball and complete it in the end zone for the conversion. Now, things to think about. Jack wants you to hopefully look for option routes for the receiver. Something is drawn up where the receiver gets to do this and has an arrow going in one direction and another where they can read what the defense is doing so the defense cannot be right. So in conversion plays, this is all, you don't have a choice. It's going to be a pass, and he's asking for you to choose option routes. We believe that we have a huge advantage over other teams because we have big, tall receivers that have a wide radius for their catch area. And our quarterbacks, Jack and Ed, are accurate throwers. And when you have accurate throwers with receivers with wide catch areas, that's a very good situation to be successful in conversion plays. Compared to other teams that have smaller, quicker receivers that have a much smaller window to where the ball can be thrown and their quarterbacks aren't as accurate. Some last items that Jack talked about. Choosing screen passes. Screen pass is where the offensive line pretends like they're going to block in pass protection for maybe a count of 1,001, 1,002, and then they let the defenders get past them, letting them think they're going to get a sack, and the quarterback simply dumps it over the top of them. So in this example, you'd have the tackle, this would be the tight end that's getting the ball. He would block his rush end, 1,001, 1,002, release underneath. The end thinks he's going to get a sack. Quarterback dumps over the top. The linemen do the same thing, 1,001, 1,002. They show pass pro, and then they leave their guys and go downfield to block defensive backs and linebackers. They actually didn't have this play drawn up, so this is one Jack told me about. So if you see screens, those are great opportunities to kind of take a little steam out of the defensive line on their pass rush and get the ball to our skilled guys with linemen downfield blocking for them. The other thing that Jack wanted me to talk about is the use of Ed Crouch, our second quarterback. Ed Crouch is a big athletic guy, and so when we get inside the red zone, calling quarterback runs would be probably a good situation in that scenario. We would still take the same philosophy when we're out on the field and the defense has to cover the whole field. Ed's had been very accurate. I think he was at 85% of his throws in the first 2 weeks. But Ed also is going to be more of a challenge if he decides to pull the ball down and run, and they're covering guys downfield. So we'd keep that same aggressive approach with passing, very high percentage when we have the ball further away from the goal line. And the last item Jack noted in his game points was keeping the foot on the gas. This is different than the NFL. In the NFL, if we have the lead in the second half, a lot of times in the NFL they get real conservative. They run the ball. They eat clock. The clock doesn't stop here in the second half until the last minute. So this is not something where whether if you throw an incomplete pass, the clock is still going. So it does not matter. So you keep the same aggressive philosophy of what is hardest for the defense to defend, and you start calling plays towards that item. So when we're way out on the field and we've got a long way to go for a touchdown, very heavy pass. As we get closer to the end zone, the percentage of run gets greater. In the high school football program that I coach, we have a saying, glory is achieved when the many come together to form that which is invincible, the power of one. We're very excited about the Wild Aces and the season coming up. Hopefully this video helps us all vote in a very similar manner in making good decisions so that we can give our offense and our team the best opportunity to score points and win games. Thank you so much for being a Wild Aces fan and supporting these young men on their paths to hopefully more football down the road.